Hi everyone, and welcome to the very first video of this month. And here in December I'm going to talk about what relationships actually are when we basically break it down to have a look at what they are. So the reason that I am going to talk about relationships this month is because we are pack animals, and I don't know how many times I've heard that excuse that people overeat because of relationship stress, or whether that be at home or at work, or maybe that they want to eat because the family is eating and they feel left out if they're not eating a lot or the same foods that they shouldn't be eating. And with Christmas around the corner, I think it's time that we start focusing a bit on our relationships with both ourselves and others. Because if these relationships with all your relatives are really stressing you out, it's just going to magnify this problem for you over this holiday period. If you're a member of my free membership site, to which you will find a link in the description to this video if you want to join. If you're a member there, you might have watched the introductory video to December. If you haven't, you can go and have a look at it. I think I mentioned a few things there that might be interesting to you. But in that video, I briefly touched on what relationships are and what they aren't. So in terms of your relationship with yourself, it's fairly easy to see what forms that relationship. If you are having crap thoughts about yourself, you're obviously going to have quite a crap relationship with yourself. And many of us have a lot of negative self-talk, and we judge ourselves way more harshly than we would ever judge other people. And that is never going to form a good relationship with yourself. So you need to get a handle on that. We really do not want to do that. But the same is true for our relationships with other people. So think about someone that you like. You like that person because you are having good thoughts about them. Not everyone on earth likes this person that you like. And why is that? It is because they are thinking other thoughts about this person, and those thoughts are probably not very positive. They might be thinking that this person is a complete douchebag. And that's fine, that's their prerogative, they can think whatever they want. But that is not going to form a good relationship between those two people. So when someone tells me that they are when they're bringing in a lot of food into the house, maybe they do it themselves, maybe someone else is doing it doesn't really matter, but blame is also not a very good thing. I want you to take responsibility for yourself, whether the food is brought in by you or by someone else. But then in the evening they will start binging on this food, and that is because someone is stressing them out. Maybe the boss is stressing them out, maybe it's their partner, maybe it's the kids, and they need this to kind of chill and calm down a bit. I want to tell them that really it's not your partner's fault, your boss's fault, or your children's fault. It's all down to you, and you need to take responsibility for that. Even if you didn't go and buy all that food, you were the one who chose to binge on it when it was available. And you wanted to calm this emotional pain, the stress, and the thoughts that you're having that are very negative about what is causing this stress. Because I can promise you that the thoughts that you're having, if you say that my husband is causing me stress, what are the thoughts that you are having about this that is causing you stress? What are your thoughts about him? Because I can assure you that it's not very loving thoughts that, oh my god, my husband's the best, I just love him to bits. That's not the thought that you are having when you're feeling stressed. It might not have anything to do with him. It might be some pressure that you have put on yourself because you think that he's going to think something. So it's all down to what thoughts you're having about this situation that is stressing you out. So you are the only one who can actually de-stress yourself by getting a handle of your thoughts. And when you can control your thoughts a bit about whatever it is that is happening, you're actually in charge for this relationship with the other person. Because whatever they do, it doesn't matter. You can always choose what you want to think about it. So let's say someone has a demanding mother-in-law. That is a perspective or a thought that will fuel a pretty average relationship with your mother-in-law. So your thoughts about the other person, or even about yourself if you like, will just determine how you perceive the relationship and how you act within it. So if you are thinking that your mother-in-law is very demanding, you're probably going to be very guarded and on edge all the time and read criticism into everything that she says probably, etc. Whereas if you can think differently about her, that's just how she is. It's not personal, it's not towards me, that's how she acts. Doesn't matter, I'm going to love her anyway. You are instantly going to change that relationship dynamic between the two of you. So rather than being withdrawing from that relationship and being protective and withdrawn, you might open up and you might be much more friendly and open and chatty and just actually showing her love, and that might change her. You never know. And even if it doesn't matter. You can have a good relationship with her by changing your thoughts. What she's thinking is not your business actually, and there's nothing you can do about it, and it doesn't really matter. So if you truly love yourself, you will be the most important thing in your life, and you just love yourself so much that you would do anything to make yourself feel good. If you could do that, a lot of your problems will go away. Now, some of you might say that this sounds very selfish, but I can assure you that when you love yourself, you are filled with so much love that it's so much easier to love other people and be patient with other people and just accept them for what they are, and you'll feel so much better in general. There's a massive difference. Anyway, I want to discuss what we mean when we're talking about relationships, and I think we are misusing the term relationship a lot when we're talking about relationships. I think for many people it's something that is predefined for us, that comes with certain expectations. And I'm going to talk a lot more about expectations next week, so I'm not going to go into that. But what I want to say is that we have so many rules for our relationships that we often spend more time examining whether someone, including ourselves, is behaving the way we think that they should within this relationship. Hiccups. Rather than just enjoying the relationship. So when we are sitting there and we're thinking, they shouldn't be doing this, they shouldn't be doing that, and they should be doing this and that, we're not enjoying the other person whatsoever. We're just up in our heads and we're judging them. And that's not going to feel good. It's never going to fuel a good relationship. So the difference between being stuck in our heads with our thoughts about the other person and what they should be doing or not doing, and being present and enjoying their company in the moment, is key to everything in forming that relationship and how you're going to feel about it. I think we all know this one person who always seems to be lost in thought and then have a lot of opinions about other people, how other people should be behaving, what they should be doing, how they should conduct themselves, maybe how they should dress, etc. They are totally missing out on pretty much probably every relationship in their lives because they are so busy judging and trying to fit people into these expectations, into these, I don't know what to call them, how a mold. If you don't fit into it, you should change so that you fit the description of wife, husband, boss, colleague, whatever it might be. If you don't fit that description that you have in your head, something's wrong with the other person and they should be changing. So please don't do that. It's not good for anyone. It's not going to help you get any better relationships. And they're probably not going to appreciate it either. So when you do that, you basically don't have any meaningful relationships in your life. And I think most of us actually want them because we are pack animals and we're drawn to wanting connection with people. And sometimes we just feel like we can't get connection with anyone. And that might be one of the problems. That you are not present, maybe they are not present. But you can still connect with them, even though they're not connecting back. So you can still love them for who they are and be present in the moment and actually enjoy being present. Whereas it doesn't matter what they're doing. You got to enjoy the moment, and that is all you can do. So if you think about someone that you love, whether that is your partner, a child, a parent, your best friend, or anyone else for that matter, it doesn't matter. You love them because you have positive thoughts about them. You think they are fantastic in some way, but someone else might not like them at all because they have different thoughts about that person. And this is very common. No one thinks the same thing about the same people 100% of the time, and very rarely actually. So the person that we are thinking about, let's say it's your child, that person is the same person, it doesn't change, he or she, but I'm having different thoughts about this child than you have. So therefore, the child is clearly lovable, because you love this child, I don't, but he or she is totally lovable. So what determines if a person is being loved is down to the person loving them, not to the actual person that is being loved. They are just who they are. And it's down to the person that is loving them to love them, and what is creating that is their thoughts. So you can transfer that back to yourself, because this sounds quite feasible, I guess, that yes, of course, everyone can be loved by someone. And you transfer that back to yourself. Now, you can be loved by everyone. So you are totally lovable. And if you're totally lovable, you can love yourself. And for many people, this is going to sound a bit icky. Are you sure I can do that? Because I have so many faults. And you don't know about all those faults. And you will start justifying why you're not lovable. But this is not true. You're absolutely lovable. There are several people on earth that already loves you. That proves that you are lovable. So you can transfer all of these things onto the relationship with yourself. Everything that I have said, transfer it to the relationship with yourself. And you can see it from the outside, it's usually easier. So if you see this for another person, and you just transfer it back to you, whatever it is that I'm talking about. And when I say that every single person is lovable, some of you might have been like, yeah, but what about Hitler? Surely he isn't lovable. Unfortunately, I don't know, he is. I am sure there are many people that love Hitler, but they are having different thoughts about him. They're having positive thoughts about him. However, the issue here is that a lot of the time you're not able to love someone because you expect them to behave in a way that they don't behave. So basically you want them to behave the way that you want them to behave so that you can love them. So if they would just change, everything would be great and you would be able to love them. But this isn't really practical or even reasonable to think, I don't think. Because you always have the choice to love them anyway, no matter what they're doing. And if you turn this around, if you were going around like a chameleon and trying to change yourself constantly, to be able to be loved by other people, you wouldn't even know who you are anymore. If you're not yourself, who are they loving then? They're not loving you because you are just putting a mask on and pretending to be someone that you think that they will love so that they can love you. But in truth, they're loving the image of you, which isn't you. So you may as well just be yourself, show your true self, and let them form an opinion about that. It's better to have people not loving you for whatever thoughts they are having than having them loving you when you're not being you. Because when you have that mask up, you will never feel genuine, and you will not be able to have a good relationship with them, because you always have to adjust and try to pretend to be someone that you're not when you're with this person. That is not going to feel good, I can promise you that. A lot of people pleasers are doing that. And I like to say that people pleasers, or when we are chameleons, when we're changing for other people, what we're doing is that we're pretty much lying to their faces. We're pretending that we're someone else, someone that they would like. And that is not a good thing, I can promise you that. So, the way to have an awesome relationship with yourself is to have awesome thoughts about yourself. Or someone else, if you want to have a relationship with someone else. Can you think awesome thoughts about this person? You're going to feel so much better in that relationship. If you want to try this out, just think about two people, one that you love and one that you don't like at all. You might even go as bad as, I hate that person. What are your thoughts about these people? The person that you hate, you're going to come up with a lot of bad thoughts. And the person that you love is obviously going to have a lot of good, positive, interesting thoughts attached to them. So what are your thoughts about those two people, if you're thinking about them? And then how do these thoughts differ? Obviously there's going to be positive and negative, but they might also be quite similar. It might be some traits that you prefer in some people that the person that you love have, and the other one, the person that you hate, is having the opposite pretty much. And then you're reading a lot into that, because this is what your preference. But it doesn't mean that you can't love the other person just because they don't have that, whatever your preference is. Doesn't mean that you have to be in a relationship as in I'm misusing the term as well, as in a love relationship with this person or whatever. You can still accept them for who they are and love them for who they are, even if they don't display these characteristics that you really value. So just have a look and see what is, you might find a red thread actually that you can pinpoint, and then when you go back and look at different relationships, maybe at work, maybe past relationship with past partners that didn't work out, maybe you will find a few things that are coming back over and over again that you might want to work on to actually build better relationships with others. So this was all for this week, and I will be back next week, and I will talk about expectations in relationships and how damaging that can actually be. So I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you do, you are more than welcome to subscribe to the channel, give it a thumbs up and share it. Share the love, and start working on those exercises and really use your brain a little bit, be present and think about what it is that is actually forming your relationships and your opinions about other people. See you next week.